Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I just wanted to spend some time looking at the feedback snapshot specifically for VR. One of the main reasons I'm doing this is because I do think it will make for some good discussion. And I'm always keen to hear what you guys think about different topics in the simulator and specifically in VR. So what I've done is I've highlighted things that caught my eye and things that I've been sort of facing or thinking about more closely than others. I didn't want to go through all the items here because it will just take too long. But I do want to hear from you guys if you want to make some comments about the other points that are raised that I've not outlined. So we'll start by looking at the top bugs. The first one I've chosen is the #1 trending post, VR overexposed and washed out landscape colors. The status is not started, but it will be released in 2021. So that means, guys, that they're working on it and hopefully they'll have a fix by the end of the year. I never really found it totally overexposed and washed out, but recently I have since the update. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, whether it's going to be the hotfix that sorts that out, or it's going to be something that comes later. But I wanted to outline that one because I think it's confusing, especially since what's happening with the latest hotfix and what people are saying about the colors being overexposed and the clouds being overexposed, etc. So this does refer to the landscape. Let's see what happens with that. I'm not really sure exactly what that means in terms of, is that from the latest SU5 or is that an ongoing thing? As I mentioned in the live stream, they are going to be doing a lot of work over the rest of this year and into next. So that's why I want to just highlight these things because I think we've got so much to look forward to. I know it's been rough times lately, but I think looking at these things gives us hope and optimism and sort of shows us what lies ahead in the terms of VR, which is really exciting in my opinion. The next item I've highlighted is to increase distance threshold to see aircraft lights. Again, this has not been started, but it's due for release either this year or next. This is a really important point, I think, because sometimes when I'm flying, it's difficult to sort of gauge the distances. Therefore, looking further into the distance needs to be made more clear so you can really get a sense of the distance and gauge it just by looking. And the next item I've highlighted is trending at #3, and it's that no anti-aliasing anymore in menus in VR. And this is under investigation. Now, this has happened since Sim Update 5, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a temporary problem, and it'll be fixed with this hotfix, hopefully. The next thing I've highlighted is propellers and reprojection, and this is under investigation, and again, they're going to try and fix this year. This is great news because one of the major reasons why I don't really use reprojection as much anymore is because the artifacts around the propeller, it just makes it look a bit irritating. I know some people like it and I can see why, but I really want to have the experience without the reprojection going, and then you get that clarity that comes along with that. So for me, this is a huge point. I'd love to be able to play with motion reprojection on with no artifacts and the propeller working perfectly. That would obviously be awesome, so let's see what happens with that. This brings us on to the next point I've highlighted, which is Anti-Aliasing Downgrade since Sim Update 5. Again, this is under investigation, and I noticed this particularly on the buildings. I discussed this in one of my other videos. You can really see it on the buildings and the trees. Again, I thought that'd only be a temporary problem, and hopefully it will be. And this brings us on to CTD, or crashes to desktop, which are ongoing fixes, which have been particularly highlighted in the recent update, so that'd be good to see that fixed. Now, the next one I've highlighted is reflections broken in VR since SU5. Now, for me personally, I don't find them that bad. I find the reflections on the water really good, and I find the reflection on the wings really good, especially using the Spitfire. So I don't know if this is affecting all of us, and I'm just not seeing some of it. But in my system, it seems fine, but I'm guessing that a lot of people have suffered this. Just let me know in the comments if you have noticed any reflections broken in VR. It'll be good to hear what kind of problems you're having with that. The next one is the Blurrier cockpit labels and indicators in VR since SU5. Again, under investigation. I'm hoping they'll fix that because I did notice that definitely the quality of the visuals in the cockpit has gone down a lot since that update. The next one I've highlighted is high-end computer yet very sluggish performance. A lot of people with high-end PCs are complaining about ongoing crashes to desktops, about slow performance, about frame rate drops, all types of problems. So that's definitely going to be linked to the programming, and hopefully they'll get those fixes out there as fast as possible so that everyone can enjoy it, not just with high-end users, but also with lower and mid-range PCs. So that pretty much covers my highlighted top bugs. Next we move on to the top wishes list. I've only selected 3 items here. However, if you want to discuss any of the other items, just bring it up in the comment section below and then other people can add their feedback and it can make for some good discussion. The first thing that catches my eye here is the #1 trending post, VR controllers support is missing. This is obviously a huge tool that flight simmers really miss, and it's great to see that they've started the process and they plan to release it later this year. So that's really good news. That's really exciting to hear because we definitely need the VR controller support for this. It just takes away too much immersion using the mouse and keyboard. So that's great to see on there. The next thing that catches my eye is advanced VR rendering performance. That's something I think is fundamental in the performance and the way that we experience VR in the sim. I think that's my #1 bug fix, is to make sure that rendering performance in VR is really good because that's what makes up the whole bulk of what you're experiencing, is the rendering and the performance. That's one thing I think is really important in terms of moving forward in VR. Another point I'm really interested in is moving external windows into the game. Now, I know there are ways of doing this, and you can do it through WMR and a few other apps, but it'd be nice to have the option in the sim to actively move windows in and out of the cockpit. That'd be brilliant. And we could maybe have them in a way that you could organize them yourself or have a default way of doing it, just so it's easy to use and it doesn't distract too much. So that just about concludes my thoughts on the feedback snapshot for VR. Based on your feedback, I might run a poll on the community tab finding out which specific items you guys want me to discuss more in depth and what would make for some good conversation. Anyway, guys, I really hope the upcoming hotfix does sort out things initially until the end of the month. As always, if you like my content, please like and subscribe and smash that like button, and I'll be back with a video very soon about the latest hotfix. In the meantime, guys, as always, take care and stay safe.